Welcome to your storytelling. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to subscribe. It all started so perfectly. I had everything: beautiful house, loving husband, and a perfect little family. Our maid, Elena, was just another part of the household. She had been with us for a while, always quiet, always professional. I trusted her completely. Little did I know, everything was about to change. There were subtle changes in my husband, Adam. He seemed distant, distracted. I brushed it off as work stress, but I couldn't ignore the feeling that something was off. One evening, I caught him texting late at night, a habit he didn't have before. When I asked, he gave me the usual excuse: work. But his eyes, they didn't meet mine. One morning, as I walked down the stairs, I saw Adam and Elena in the kitchen, talking in hushed tones. Their body language was strange, too close, too comfortable. I brushed it off, but a seed of doubt had been planted. I started to watch more carefully, noticing little things that didn't quite add up. I began to overhear conversations between Adam and Elena, not meant for my ears. Sometimes I caught them laughing, sometimes arguing. The tension between them grew, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was losing my grip on the life I thought I knew. Was it just me, or was something deeper happening behind my back? One afternoon, I found an envelope tucked away in Adam's briefcase. It was addressed to Elena. I opened it, my hands shaking. The words were clear: "I'm yours, always." My heart sank. The man I loved, the man I had trusted, was having an affair with my maid. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. I had to confront him. "Is there something going on between you and Elena?" I asked Adam, my voice trembling. He froze, his face pale. For a moment, it seemed like he would deny everything. But then, the truth slipped out. He had been having an affair with her for months. I couldn't believe it. I felt like the ground had been ripped from beneath me. I wanted to scream, to break everything around me. How could he betray me like this? He swore he loved me, yet he had been lying, sneaking around with Elena. The anger, the heartbreak, it all washed over me in waves. I didn't know what to do or how to move forward, but I couldn't stay with him. After days of crying, I made the hardest decision of my life. I told Adam I wanted a divorce. He begged me to stay, swore it was a mistake. But how could I ever trust him again? How could I look at him the same way? The man I had married wasn't the man I thought he was. He had broken me. Weeks passed, and things slowly started to settle. But then, the unthinkable happened. Elena, the woman who had destroyed my marriage, called me one evening. Her voice was calm, almost too calm. "I'm pregnant," she said. My world stopped. She was carrying Adam's child. I felt numb, lost. How had I not seen this coming? The reality hit me hard. Elena was pregnant with my husband's child. The woman who had been a part of my home, my life, had been carrying his secret for months. I couldn't understand how she could do this to me. How could she betray me like this? How could Adam? The pain was unbearable, but I had to face it. I confronted Adam once more, demanding answers. He looked at me with those familiar eyes, but they were no longer the same. He told me he was sorry, that it was a mistake. But Elena was carrying his child, and that couldn't be erased. "You have to choose," I told him. "It's either me or her." The silence was deafening, and I knew then, things would never be the same. Adam tried to convince me that he was a victim of circumstance, that it was Elena who had seduced him. But I wasn't buying it. He had made the choice, again and again, to betray me. He was just as guilty. But as I listened to him, a part of me wondered if he truly regretted what he had done, or if he was simply trying to avoid the consequences of his actions. The next few weeks were a blur of emotions: anger, sadness, confusion. I didn't know who to trust anymore. Elena, the woman I had considered part of my family, had betrayed me in the most painful way. And Adam, my husband, the man I thought would never hurt me, had shattered my world. I couldn't escape the constant ache in my chest, the betrayal that echoed in my mind. One afternoon, Elena showed up at my door. She wasn't there to apologize or beg for forgiveness. No, she was there to tell me something even more shocking. She wasn't just pregnant with Adam's child. She was moving in with him. She had made her choice. And now, they were going to build a life together with their baby. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. I wanted to lash out, to scream at her, but I held myself together. I knew I couldn't change what was happening. Elena had already taken my place. Adam had already made his decision. They were going to have a family, and I was left to pick up the broken pieces of my life. It was the hardest thing I had ever done, but I had to let go. For the first time in years, the house felt empty. Adam had moved out, and with him, so did the sense of security I had once felt. The walls, once filled with laughter and love, now seemed cold and distant. I wandered through each room, unable to shake the feeling that something had been stolen from me. I was alone, and I didn't know how to fix it. Days turned into weeks, and I tried to keep busy. I focused on work, my friends, anything to distract me from the pain. But no matter how hard I tried, the thoughts of Adam and Elena crept in. I wondered about their life together, how they were preparing for their baby, what it felt like for her to carry his child. And I hated myself for still caring. One evening, as I sat on the couch, I realized something. Adam had made his choice, but I didn't have to stay stuck in the past. I was better than this. I didn't need him to be happy. I didn't need Elena. I could rebuild my life on my own. It wasn't going to be easy, but I had to do it for myself. It was then that my friends really stepped up. They were there for me when I needed them most, offering support, listening to my rants, and helping me pick up the pieces. They reminded me that I was strong, that I deserved better than what Adam had given me. Their love gave me the strength to start moving forward, even when it felt impossible. I started to focus on myself, my career, my health, my happiness. Slowly, I began to find joy again. I joined a new yoga class, took up painting, and started to travel more. Life wasn't perfect, but it was mine. I was no longer defined by Adam or Elena. I was reclaiming my life, one step at a time. Months passed, and I had begun to rebuild my life. But one day, I ran into Adam at a coffee shop. My heart raced. He looked different, tired, worn. He approached me, hesitantly, like he wasn't sure what to say. "I made a huge mistake," he said. I could hear the regret in his voice, but was it too late? Could I ever forgive him? As Adam tried to explain himself, a part of me wanted to believe him. I wanted to hear that he was truly sorry, that he regretted his affair with Elena. But the wounds were still fresh. The memories of his betrayal, the lies, and the hurt were too vivid. I found myself tempted to listen, to open the door again, but something deep inside told me it was better to walk away. I learned something shocking about Elena that I hadn't expected. She had been lying to Adam, too. She hadn't been as honest with him as he had believed. In fact, she had been manipulating him, playing on his emotions to get what she wanted. The truth was, she wasn't as innocent as she had seemed. And somehow, that gave me a strange sense of closure. Adam and Elena had started a new life together. I could see it in the pictures he posted online, happy, smiling, with their growing family. It should have hurt, but it didn't. In a way, I was relieved. I didn't want to be part of their drama anymore. Their life, their choices, were no longer my concern. It was time to focus on my own happiness. One day, I received a letter in the mail from Adam. I hadn't heard from him in months. The letter was short but heartfelt. He apologized again, expressing regret for everything that had happened. He said he had learned a hard lesson about love and loyalty. As I read his words, I realized that he truly had changed. But was it too late for us? I didn't know. As the years passed, I began to see how much I had grown. The pain of Adam's betrayal no longer defined me. I had become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. I had learned that true happiness comes from within, not from someone else's approval or love. I had learned to love myself again, to trust myself, and to never settle for less than I deserved. One evening, I ran into old friends from before everything had happened. They had watched me go through the pain of my marriage falling apart, and now they saw the woman I had become. Confident, at peace, and unapologetically happy. They reminded me of the person I used to be, the woman full of dreams, strength, and optimism. I was her again. Just when I thought I had everything under control, life threw me another curveball. Elena had a baby boy. Adam, the man who had once broken my heart, was a father now. And as much as I tried to block it out, I couldn't help but wonder how he was adjusting to this new chapter of his life. I didn't hate him anymore, but I still couldn't imagine being part of that story again. One last time, I saw Adam. He reached out, asking to meet me and talk. This time, I didn't hesitate. I agreed, not because I still loved him, but because I needed closure. When we met, he apologized one last time. I could see the guilt in his eyes, but I no longer felt the need to hold on to that old pain. We had both moved on, and it was time to say goodbye, for good. As I closed the door on my past with Adam, I realized something important. I had come a long way. My life was mine again. I had learned from the mistakes, the heartbreak, and the lessons. The future was waiting for me, and I wasn't afraid anymore. I was ready for the next chapter of my life, one filled with hope, love, and a fresh start. Thank you for listening to my story until now. If you like the video, please support it by subscribing and liking.